Hey everyone, Sean Joel here from Elevation Leaders, where we help you 10x your business valuation. Can I speak to you today about Goleman's 6 leadership styles? I think the concept is quite misunderstood. Most leaders go out there and have a style that they're very comfortable with and believe that that is the main style that they need to implement on a day-to-day basis. However, I'm going to argue something quite the contrary today. So let me take you through these 6 styles first and explain them to you. So what Goleman has told us is that there are 6 specific styles that he has noticed in every single business. The first style is what we call the authoritative or directive leadership. And we are seeing a lot of this in this new age and day in different countries and different political systems where people are being told exactly what to do and they're just supposed to follow that lead. This leadership style actually works quite well when you're in more of a crisis mode, but it will not empower your people. So during COVID, for example, that was a really good time when this leadership style was used to great effect. People were uncertain, they were unclear on what they needed to do. Certain leaders took on this directive leadership style, and it really helped navigate those very shaky waters that we were living through. The second style is what we call the visionary leader. Now, many leaders aspire to being visionaries, but very few actually are. It's really hard to be a purely visionary leader where you're setting the vision. When we think about visionary leaders, we're thinking people like Steve Jobs or Nelson Mandela and different people who really had a vision for either their countries or their businesses. It's a little bit harder to do in smaller teams or smaller companies, but it is something that could be accomplished if you're really able to set this inspiring vision and have people follow through with it. Style number 3 is what we call the affiliative leader. So this is another way to call this is the collaborative leader. This is someone who really loves harmony within teams, making sure everyone gets along, almost has a psychologist feel to it where you're making sure that everyone is really feeling great, a shoulder to lean on, someone to come talk to. It is a very collaborative mindset that gets implemented within the teams. The challenge with this style and what we see often happen is that there's a lack of direction that happens when you're being overly collaborative. So just something to be aware of. Style number 4, that is the democratic style. So the democratic style is someone who, as a leader, gets opinions from all the different people within the business. So really making sure that they hear all the different opinions and then come to more of a consensus in the way they come to decision making. This style works amazingly if you have a very strong team or very strong people around you. You can have a lot of success and make it work for you. However, if you're in a weaker team, people are newer, for example, or do not have that level of talent that you need, it's a very dangerous style because you're likely not going to get the right type of information, data, and feedback that you're really looking for. So be very aware of the type of team you have. Style number 5 is what we call the pace setter. This is, I am going to perform at a high level and I need you to also perform at this high level. I'm going to set the pace and you need to follow the pace I'm setting for you. Once again, this can be a very strong leadership style if you have people who can follow your pace, who can step up, keep up with you. However, if you're not someone who doesn't, if you're someone who doesn't have a team or people around you that are able to go at that same pace, you will cause burnout. You will cause a lot of issues for people around you. So be very careful. If you're using the pace setting style, you need to have people that can follow your rhythm. If you don't have people that can follow your rhythm, it's going to be quite the challenge. And the last style, I would say, is probably the one we see the most commonly used. That is the coaching leadership style. This is when you're acting like a coach. You can literally think about a sports example of being the coach of a soccer team, the coach of a hockey team, the coach of a basketball team, whatever your sport of preference is. You're actually acting like a coach and you're going to treat those people like they're team members, are actual athletes on your team. You're going to coach them through scenarios, coach them through situations. So again, this will work pretty well when you have newer people, when people are getting into their roles. At one point, it could become a little bit more, too micro for them. You may not be empowering people enough. If you're always using that coaching style, sometimes you do have to let people fly with their own wings. So just something to consider. So those are the 6 leadership styles. Now, what is fully misunderstood is that if you're a leader, you're likely going to have one of these styles that fits best with your abilities and best with your preferences. However, I argue that you need to be a chameleon as a leader. If you have 6 people in your team, it is very possible that you actually need to use 6 different leadership styles for every single one of those individuals. You may have to adapt to every single one of those people within your group because they are just not able to succeed in one of those leadership styles. So for example, if you have someone who's very high performance, very strong at what they do, what you can't really use with them a directive leadership style because they're going to want to be empowered and to go and do their own thing. If you're someone who is very, very democratic as a leader, but your team just doesn't have those type of abilities, you won't be able to use a democratic style in that group. It will not work for you. So you have to be able to identify the needs of your team members, what it is that they need and what they're looking for, and then adapt your leadership style to them to ensure that they're getting the absolute best options and potential to grow within the organization. So hoping this video has been interesting for you and that you've learned a little bit more about the leadership styles. Do please share it if you think it could be useful for others in your network. Thanks, have a great day.